USC, who now the top 25 team in the AP poll. I don't think they were top 25 team in the coaches poll. I remember when Joe Klatt did his top 25 before either of the official polls came out. Not only was USC not in his top 25, but they also weren't in his first five out, right? So not even when they're not a top 25 team for Joe Klatt, but they weren't a top 30 team. But I look at this USC team, and the thing about it is, it's not like I think they're that good. I can see why. Because I think when they rank the teams, when they do these rankings, um, the rankings are based on like just how good do you really think this team is, and not how well can they do against their schedule, right? But USC has it. I don't think USC the people that USC lost were significant. They lost Quentin Joyner, who was going to be the starting running back this year, to Texas Tech. They lost Zach Branch, who had something of a sophomore slump, or at least didn't make a jump as a sophomore. As a freshman, he was like I think a first team All American as a return man. He didn't even really do well. He didn't perform well in the return year even last year. But still, that's the guy who was a 5-star. If he could have had a bounce back year, well, now he's at Georgia, right? They also lost Kyron Hudson to Penn State. Penn State expect to be, again, one of the best teams in the country, as always, under James Franklin. And they also lost Deuce Robinson to Florida State. So those are some key guys, some really talented guys the USC lost that just would have made them, I think, more formidable just on paper. Just the idea of them, if they bring all those guys back, who should, this is the money year for pretty much all of those guys, right? And so they lost those guys. They did bring in Eli Sanders, who rushed for 1,000 years last year in New Mexico. He's going to be the replacement for. Not really. It's really. Woody Marks was the guy last year. Quentin Joyner was the backup. He was supposed to be the man this year, but he transferred out. So Eli Sanders is going to be the new starting running back. I forget the backup's name, the other kid's name. I don't know. I'm sure he'll contribute, but and the guys that they brought in, like they brought in Zacharias Williams from Utah. We'll see what he can bring. The thing about it is the USC. USC is has become a program that is known for the wide receivers that it produces. Just last year, USC had 2 guys in the top 5 in receiving in the NFL, and St. Brown and Drake London. Michael Pittman has been a pretty good receiver. Juju Smith-Schuster started strong. He's tailed off since then. Yeah, they're one of those schools that gets the wide receiver tag, and so that probably. And of course the receivers that they were top 2 were they're returning one Jacoby Lane, the big 6'5" super freak receiver, and the other one Mekhi Lemon. We're talking about the number 1 rated receiver in his in the upcoming draft class. And then I think the key though is that at quarterback, if Jaden Miami kind of reminds me of like a Colin Kaepernick, taller, probably not as fast as prime Colin Kaepernick, but just the way he plays the game. Someone who, and he was at UNLV, he transferred in last year. Has he sits at first behind Miller Moss and takes over in the last. He started 4 games for them last year, and played pretty well when he started. He's just one of those guys who, more of an athlete than a pure pocket quarterback. And I love the way he can extend plays. The key for him is how much growth has he made as a passer after spending now. He's had more than a full year, a year and a half now in Lincoln Riley's system, and we'll see the type of jump he's made. And then, of course, playing behind him is the big time recruit Hudson Longstreet, who's going to be a true freshman. But Jaden Maiava, if he can make a leap in year two to be someone who makes better decisions, better passing the ball, and that would just add on to what he can do as someone who can extend plays and make plays with his legs. If you look at this USC team, if you look at their schedule, they start off with 2 home games against Missouri State and Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern, coached by the man Lincoln, coached by the man Lincoln Riley replaced in Clay Helton, who I once took a picture with. And then it's at Purdue. Then it's Michigan State on the Michigan State is at the Coliseum. Then it's at Illinois. Then it's Michigan State at the Coliseum. Then it's at Notre Dame, at Nebraska. Then Northwestern and Iowa back at the Coliseum. On the road at Oregon. And then lastly, UCLA at the Coliseum. If you look at that schedule, I mean, obviously Oregon and Notre Dame. Notre Dame was in the national championship game last year. Oregon is Oregon. But Michigan was so last year. USC went on the road last year and almost beat them. But Michigan is not what they were under Jim Harbaugh. Michigan State is, typically a pretty good program, but that's going to be at the Coliseum. I mean, that is one to watch out for. But you look at the rest of these games. I mean, Purdue, Illinois, even on the road. I know Nebraska has Matt Rule, don't they? But, it's something to watch. Matt Rule's a good football coach. Something to watch out for, and it is on the road. But, also Northwestern, Iowa. I mean, Iowa is still a Big Ten. It's still Iowa. But, and UCLA, they got the kid from Tennessee at quarterback. Maybe they have the best quarterback in the crosstown rivalry now. But, just look at that schedule. That's a damn easy schedule. That's the type of schedule. Imagine USC having this schedule. Shoot. Even the best Clay Helton teams with Sam Darnold, they're having a time with this schedule. Let alone the Pete Carroll team. The Pete Carroll team is obviously, they're right on this table. Except for Oregon, maybe. So, I just think this is a USC team that if Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane take the next step as expected, Eli Sanders, as I said, talented player. If the defense can be just as good as it was last year, when Danton Lynn improved them so much, once again, this is a schedule-based argument. It's not really a talent-based argument. The talent-based argument is going to come. They have the number 1 ranked recruiting class in 2026. So that's when it's going to start to be, okay, can USC really, step back into the forefront of college football with one of the most stacked rosters in the country? They made some changes there. They brought in a GM. I think his name was Chad Bowman. I think he came from Notre Dame. And he's kind of fixed the local recruiting scene that Lincoln Riley had, pretty much abandoned, which is crazy because, the most talent-rich states in college football are Florida is one, Georgia is one, I think Texas, and California for sure. California is one of the top 3 in college football. So how do you, Lincoln Riley, just because you're from the South and you still are your years coaching in the South, You go and you come here and you're only recruiting the South, and that means you're abandoning all the. That's like Alabama or Texas or one of those schools abandoning all the talent in the South and only recruiting California. You know, you got to take care of the home base first, and then you expand, which is what Pete Carroll did, and that's what USC is back to doing, at least if the 2026 class is any indication. So, you know, uh, next year will be the year where it's the true test of, the year after that, because you got to get the time to develop. But it's crazy because by then Lincoln Riley will be in year 5 next year. So, we'll see. I don't know if they would, if with that recruiting class coming in and with the new facility being built, if USC with this schedule struggles again this year, would that be enough for USC to move on from Lincoln Riley when they still owe him, $55 million, $60 million or whatever it is? I don't know. But if you look, there's really no excuse. At a certain point, Lincoln Riley, he needs to start, paying some dividends. And there's enough here that if you look at this schedule, and you think of USC and what they've been historically and the expectations they have, at least give me 8 wins, Lincoln Riley. You know what I'm saying?